Hello, my name is Drew Holbrook, and I am currently the acting manager of the Extended Realities Group at Gulfstream Aerospace. And I'll be bringing you immersive realities at Gulfstream, viewing the design cycle through a new lens. So, a little bit of background about Gulfstream is we're one of the leading manufacturer of the world's most advanced business aircraft. Our operators use the Gulfstream aircraft primarily as business tools. They look for a number of key things such as safety, security, operational flexibility, and productivity. These are not just luxury jets, but they're really flying offices for some of the higher elites and wealthier individuals. Competitors are primarily international, and for more than 60 years, we've been delivering on our promises. Today, there are approximately 15,000 employees at Gulfstream, and we're headquartered in Savannah, Georgia. We're at 13 major locations on 3 different continents, and more than 25% of our workforce are veterans. Back starting in 1999, we became a wholly owned subsidiary of General Dynamics. So before jumping into the real meat of the presentation, I know most people already understand the terminology, but to kind of give an overview just for those that don't, I wanted to go around and just sort of explain some of the acronyms that we throw around. So XR, meaning extended reality, really the all-encompassing uh, reality portion of this. In the top corner, in the top middle, is augmented reality. The best way to really explain this is Pokemon Go is probably one of the best examples, or Snapchat. Then you have a mixed reality, which is a form of virtual reality. This is where we'll blend virtual reality with the real world. So users will interact with actual objects while being in a computer environment. Then we have virtual reality, which is where we completely generate an immersive environment around the user, and they can interact and have different features and aspects. And then cave. So this is a projection system. It can be anywhere from a 3 wall to a 6 wall system, um, in which we can immerse the user. This is just another form of virtual reality. It also allows for collaboration, so users can see the other users around them through 3D glasses. So looking at this from the aircraft lifecycle and how we have used extended realities in each of the phases. As you follow the wheel, we start out in conceptual and preliminary design. These are the teams that come up with the ideas, the next generation, future concepts. And then you move around the wheel into detail design. These are the people that really do the legwork and design whatever the aircraft in this situation. Then we go into manufacturing where we build it and we flight test, and then we sales and marketing, all the way into training and product support. So in each of these cycles, we have actually had a hand, as you'll see in the presentation, to where we've used either augmented or virtual reality to help support um, each of the life cycle areas. For example, conceptual and preliminary design, we've used virtual and augmented with the HoloLens and the Oculuses to be able to help see designs that don't even exist today in a one-to-one setting. It's been extremely helpful for the engineers to use this. Moving around into manufacturing, being able to overlay actual CAD parts on top of the real aircraft in 3D space to help locate parts, or even with work instructions. Another one's in the training area, doing virtual reality training guides. Gets away from PowerPoint and helps the user to be far more immersed and have the muscle memory and the motor memory that goes with a training application. So as we go into these, look at a couple of the tools that we use. We have our modeling tools. Then of course we have to convert whatever that tool is, that object is, and then we have our development tools. So at Gulfstream we use CATIA as our 3D CAD modeling program, and since the G650, so at the 500, 600, and 700, we actually have our entire aircraft in 3D model, and we don't use paper drawings. So with all of that data, we have to convert it into an FBX format, or a format that's readable by either Unity or Unreal or one of the other third-party tools to help develop work instructions and whatnot. So we've used DeltaGen, Maya, Max. We've looked at tools like Instalod, and any other number of tools out there that help with the conversion process. Um, so these are just some of the things that we've used across the whole spectrum and how we deploy and how we get to the experiences. One of the other interesting parts of our job at the Extended Realities Group is actually our exploratory efforts. So, not only do we look at virtual and augmented reality, software and hardware, things like the Rift S and the Vario VR2, um, we also get software like spatial and other forms of advanced technology, immersive simulations. Um, but we looked at projector systems, so like Lightform, and we've even looked at technology such as Google's Project Soli, which is radar technology. So this is one of the fun parts about our job here at Gulfstream is getting to look at other disruptive technologies and how it impacts hardware, people, software, and the aircraft itself. Some of these projects we've been tasked by engineering to go look at, even though we work in the IT organization. So some crossover there. Um, Jumping into it, the first one that we look at really is our cave and how we utilize it with our customers. So we've used it in a number of different ways. And in the video, as you can see, when our customers come in on sales tours, we bring them into our cave. They're able to go in and actually change floor plans, change layouts, change materials. They can even interact with different features. So you can see their credenza doors open and closing. And customers really take this time to stand with our sales reps and designers and better understand what selections they have and what they can choose. So this helps customers that are interested in wanting to know more about the aircraft, as well as customers who are in our design process to really help pick out their features and their materials and selections. One of the other things that we've done with the cave is we can open ours up into a power wall. This has been great for design reviews. So some of the pictures in the lower right corner, you can see where we actually bring in the CATIA, and we have an auditorium setting where multiple engineers can be in the room and can see the same thing and interact and be able to get a different experience. We've brought customer support personnel in to be able to do fit checks and various features like that. Lastly, we've used Barco's transportable cave on a couple of occasions at trade shows. This has allowed us to actually take a cave experience to the customers at the shows where they can go into the three-wall projection setting and have the same experience that they would have in Savannah. This has gotten a lot of really great feedback and has been extremely helpful in showing customers a more immersive aspect of Gulfstream. So as we've moved into the VR space, and we've actually had the cave, I guess I should say, for coming up on 10 years, but in the past 5 years, we've moved towards the VR headsets and the game engines. And with this setup, we've actually built a simulation very similar to the cave. So this gives the customer the option to either stand in the cave or to put a VR headset on and really immerse themselves in this one-to-one setting. While we're showing the finished products, we've used the VR headsets quite often with our preliminary design team. Being able to go into an experience or a design that has never even been created yet and see it in a one-to-one scale and walk around the aircraft, go inside the aircraft has been a huge help for our engineers and management to understand new and novel ideas and concepts. Um, We've even used the VR side on the training side. So being able to take apart an APU and put it back together. This has allowed our trainees to better understand how systems work and how our aircraft work. One of the unique things that we've done at Gulfstream is we have a group of the company called government programs, and we also call it special missions. So these are for different operators around the world who have a unique need. And when our programs teams go to trade shows, they typically all they have are models or pictures or flyers. They approached us about creating a simulation for a one-of-a-kind Gulfstream aircraft that we created for a customer a couple years ago that is a medevac aircraft. This is the only aircraft in the world that can do what it does in the medical field. More or less, you can almost perform surgery in the aircraft. Um, and through that, we took the actual CATIA data that we had and we converted it over and we added it into a generic color scheme. And now, when our government programs go to trade shows, whenever they're allowed to again, um, they can take this and they can show operators, whether they be doctors or nurses or just other personnel, exactly how the aircraft works. You could saw the medical bed, it moves into the middle, so nurses and doctors can move all the 360 all the way around the bed. They're able to open and close drawers. Everything they would do in the actual aircraft, they can do in this simulation. Um, this has been an extreme help for our government program sales team, as well as engineers and end customers on understanding their design and what they're actually getting through the process. Um, One of the other videos here, you can actually see one of at an event, one of the users getting down and reaching inside of the drawers. So this is, like I said, this has been extremely helpful for our customers to better understand the capabilities of a Gulfstream aircraft. Not only is it a beautiful machine, but we have the ability to convert into a lot of different unique aspects to help various customers. One of the other big projects that we've worked on throughout the years, it originally started out as a marketing tool and has become an engineering tool as well, and that is our virtual flight deck. Um, this is a where we've taken our flight simulation from our G500 symmetry flight deck, which is now on our G600 and G700, and we have taken it to trade shows, and we allow users in two different forms. One is just a desktop version where we use commercial off-the-shelf equipment, and customers or engineers can now fly the aircraft and see it in a virtual experience where you actually look around. You can throttle up, throttle down, use the side stick, and the aircraft will respond very closely to what it does in the actual airplane. Um, at trade shows, customer pilots and the customers themselves can come in, and now they actually get their hands on the stick and throttle, and we map it one-to-one. So they're able to really get the experience of what the G500 or the Symmetry flight deck really looks like. This has gotten a lot of rave reviews, and typically we have lines going around the building waiting to fly this. It's something that we've introduced that our competitors have not, and we have gotten a big response. And this has typically traveled to 2 or 3, sometimes 4 trade shows a year. So branching off of that virtual flight deck that we built, last year we actually had engineering approach us about adding a new safety feature that they were going to be adding into the G700 aircraft. And they wanted to be able to show this to customers at the announcement of the G700, and so they wanted to do it with the flight deck. And instead of using a VR headset, they just wanted a big screen to show what the pilot would see on the display. And so in that middle picture where it's circled red is our predictive landing performance system. We worked with Honeywell, our avionics supplier, and this helps pilots understand when they're coming in on approach for a landing, if they're coming in too fast or too high, and how much braking they need in order to meet the right braking requirements before they go off the end of the runway. Um, so this system is a feature that lets them know they either need to add more braking, add thrust reversers, or go around. It also helps them if a pilot is coming in on 2 runways side by side and one may be half the length of the other. It'll recognize runway length and be able to adjust accordingly as to what the pilot's coming in on. This will help prevent runway overruns. And so as you watch the video on the left, you can see the little indicator on the far left of the screen. So as the pilot's approaching, it's blue means they're still good, and then it goes green, which means they're really good. And as soon as they touch down, you can see the little white dot, and that helps show exactly where they're going to stop based on their braking requirements and their speed. Um, we had a huge success with this at a trade show, and now engineering is looking to use this setup as a development tool throughout the development cycle of the aircraft. So one of the other areas that we look at is augmented reality, how we use it in different areas of the company. Um, in the upper picture with the shark's teeth, something that we've actually used for about the past 5 or 6 years is projection painting. So we actually project the customer's paint schemes onto the side of the aircraft. Customers have the ability to come to Savannah and see that before they do final sign off, or we use it to actually paint the aircraft to help with rework cost. We've done this for the 650. Now we're doing it for the 500, 600, and 700 as well. We've taken that one step further, and we actually have loaded it into HoloLens. Um, we actually haven't shown this to a customer just yet, but just looking around at it, finding different ways to show paint schemes in a more immersive setting, so customers would have the ability to change the paint schemes. Um, Now you can even stick their head inside the aircraft if they wanted to see a different way out. We actually do this today with customers in a 2D display where they can draw on the aircraft and paint whatever they want to, and then we can actually put that into a projection system. We're also using the HoloLens 2 in manufacturing. Unfortunately, I can't show the actual simulation in a video, but I can show it in an office setting that really doesn't show much of anything. But being able to locate parts and do overlays of our CAD models on the actual aircraft in production. Right now, we're really looking at wearability and safety of the headsets in a production environment, wanting to make sure that none of the customers actually fall through, or technicians, I should say, fall through any holes in the floor or hit their heads. But early tests are going well, and the accuracy and the tracking of the HoloLens has been a huge success. So as we move forward, we'll be able to do hopefully some integration and also other novel and neat features of this as we move into the next phase of our extended realities at Gulfstream. So with that, that is my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it. If there are any questions, let me know. Thank you.